taxpayers' job to pay for my kids to eat and for my kids to be taken care of. If you're watching this video and you can't send me nothing, I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you. 50 cents. My kids have not ate in 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Link is down in the description box below, and I'm just gonna warn you, I felt like, and I could be wrong, I haven't done a video on it yet, but I could have sworn I heard Will Ospreay say this a couple of days ago, maybe even a week ago. So some of you guys might be aware of the verbiage that's going on here, but I'm pretty sure the majority of you aren't. Regardless, I'm going to read it though, because it's a greater point that I want to make a comparison to what another AEW superstar just recently got into an argument with via Twitter, which I'm pretty sure you already know who I'm talking about. Will Ospreay says, "The bar is too high now, bruv, for ex-WWE stars that want to just walk into AEW, bruv." While appearing on the JJRBTS podcast, Will Ospreay gave the following advice to former WWE stars that are now looking to join AEW. And I quote from Will Ospreay, "One of the guys who just came in is Speedball Mike Bailey, who was like the indie king at one point. He was going everywhere and putting on some of the greatest matches ever. I think that's what we're looking at more now instead of guys that just got let go from WWE. And my heart goes out to all of them. But we're looking for guys that are appreciative of this position, who are grafting and improving the markets elsewhere, instead of they just got let go from WWE and instantly assume they can come here. Nah, go out and prove to other people you're wanted and desired." My heart goes out to all of them. It should never be assumed that, oh, I got let go here, I can just walk into AEW. Nah, bruv. The bar is too high now. I want to see all of these guys cut their teeth elsewhere and improve houses elsewhere. Go to New Japan. Go to Noah. Go to Stardom. Go elsewhere and improve their houses before you can think, oh, I'll just come here. That's just me. There are certain guys like Swerve Strickland who got let go from WWE and came to AEW straight away. He's a special one. He's special. MVP is another. He's special. Bobby Lashley, special. Shelton Benjamin, special. I want people to be like, you can't just come walking in here. I really do think the independents need it right now. They need someone to help guide this next generation to come through. That's just me, personally. I don't mean that in any type of disrespectful way. We get it, bro. Holy shit, you pussy. We understand what you mean. Right now, AEW, we are the best wrestlers right now. And all those guys who have been let go, tragically, are really good pro wrestlers. But you can't just be good anymore. You've gotta be elite, bruv. I find that so fucking hilarious. I find that so let me ask you a question, Will Ospreay. Right, you want wrestlers to go out of their way and they have to go, I don't know, what do you mean by improving the house? Like, do you mean gate-wise? Do you mean locker room leader-wise? Like, what are we talking about here? Because both of those, I mean, if that's what you're referring to, both of those should not relate in any description close to fucking AEW. You guys just recently got your locker room together. I mean, it was like a fucking meme at one point that you guys were just a complete shit show when it came to leadership. Hell, you guys at this point still don't have really great leadership if you ask me, considering that last time I checked, Tony Khan still happens to be in charge of your shitty company. And God willing, I know you're not talking about a fucking house in terms of gate. I'm just gonna pretend that's definitely not what he's talking about, because that's not the road you want to go down right now, brother. That's not the road you want to go down. But I find it very peculiar that he brings up all these things, right? And this is the main point as to why I wanted to reference that article. Because it seems like every point that you're making is true. It's true. I think WWE superstars should go out of their way to prove their worth, especially if they were lower on the card, rather than just walking into AEW. It's true that they probably are needed on the indie scene currently at the moment. Now, their name value in WWE ain't gonna do shit for AEW. Quite frankly, some of their biggest stars, not named Roman Reigns or CM Punk or Cody Rhodes, quite frankly, aren't gonna do that much damage to AEW anyways. I mean, you have to be a fucking John Cena level talent, in my opinion, to make any kind of ridiculous splash within that company that's gonna be earth shattering. And maybe Roman Reigns also. I don't even think Cody Rhodes can do it. But to pretend that you're going to be a mid-carder going to AEW and thinking just because you were a name in WWE that's just enough. No, that's not enough. Wrestling is too low. He's right about that. My question is, though, when did this bar get raised, apparently? I'm curious, when did this bar get elevated? Who's reaping the rewards from this bar getting elevated again? I'm not understanding, because it seems like the boys in themselves, they're reaping the rewards. See, there's a lot of conflict of interest that's currently going on at the moment, because you have the Hurt Business there. And as much as I like the Hurt Business, it doesn't really seem like any of your guys, any of your audience, the things, the metrics that, again, I'm presuming is what you want to see in these houses and other independent areas. I would presume that almost everything that they bring to the table is a complete contrast to what AEW is trying to establish at the moment. Bobby Lashley is not a work rate guy. Shelton Benjamin is a lot older. Okay? MVP, he's all about mic work. You guys already have that person. His name is MJF. Why aren't you relying on him to the extent where you shut out the Hurt Business? It seems like they just left WWE and just walked their asses right in. Huh? Very, very peculiar. Or another example, right? How about a Ricochet? You know, again, you talk about house, and again, I'm not sure what you're referencing, but let's attack both points. Like I said, from a gate standpoint, again, who are you, Will Ospreay of all fucking people, to talk about anybody's worth in regards to monetary expectations? Who are you to talk about the popularity of a superstar as far as what they can do for a show or for an indie promotion or any of that kind of nonsense in regards to a requirement of having to judge AEW and judge WWE and compare them to each other? When I guarantee you, again, they might not make a dent as far as a prolonged period in regards to restoring the establishment and foundation of AEW to where they used to be about 3 or 4 years ago. Like I said, it's going to take some earth-shattering Roman Reigns, John Cena-esque superstar to fucking do that. But it doesn't mean that they themselves wouldn't be able to do something with your numbers for at least the first 2 or 3 weeks. You mean to tell me right now, for an example, just throwing out a name, if Seth Rollins, if Drew McIntyre, if they didn't step foot out of WWE and their contract was expired, you mean to tell me that AEW wouldn't pick them right up? Of course they will. Do they have to prove themselves on the indie circuit? Do you, Will Ospreay, if you leave AEW before you came to do you need to prove yourself on the indie circuit? Because those words can come back to bite you in the ass, sir. Prove what worth? What worth? Who is this worth? Who's gauging this worth? What are you talking about? But like I said, I don't have to be the kind of person to have to point at things that are just pretty fucking obvious. I can just use examples. For an example, the link down in the description box below. This is a fan, okay? Just a random fan who's talking at the moment. Last night's loss was frustrating enough that I turned the show off and went straight to bed. I still don't have the exact words, but I do know this. Carmelo Hayes deserves more than what he's been given over the past year. I'm making the point, folks. Follow along, okay? Just continue following. He's proven he can elevate anything he's handed with a mix of humility and undeniable confidence. Yet somehow, it feels like we haven't moved forward since last year's draft. I'll stay patient, but at some point, something has to give. Hashtag we want Melo. No, you want Melo. But nevertheless, though, before I move to my broader point, hey, Will, is a guy like Carmelo Hayes worthy to join AEW? Huh? Is he? Or does he need to work himself out a little bit more and grind a little bit? Grind, brother! He's not afraid of the grind, right? Are you afraid of the grind? Well, we won't touch that. But I'm saying, does someone like Carmelo Hayes have to go up to the UK and do a couple more flips and super kicks in order to put himself in a correct position in order to join AEW? Gonna presume, nah, because he fits your criteria, your personal criteria of what you would like to see out of an AEW superstar. Am I right, Willie? Okay, objective narratives, that's what we're currently pushing at the moment. But let's go to the person who responded to this comment. There's this guy, bald head, shiny beard, constantly getting into conflicts with people and wrestlers and pretending that it's actually a character when in reality he's just venting. Ricochet. He responds by saying, and then again, right here, bling, again, follow along. He works for WWE. Carmelo Hayes, just as a reminder. That is the prize. That is the reward. Shouldn't that be enough? He works for the biggest promotion in the world. They make the most money and get the most views. That should be enough. What does he want? More? Sounds selfish to me. Now, obviously, he's being coy, right? He's trying to be a smartass. That's fine. Hey, more power to you. But what you guys don't understand is when you go out of your way to be a smartass, when you go out of your way to bring up points in order to slam dunk on your opponent, you might want to read what the fuck you're saying before you actually post it, and might want to clear it with some of the people in the upper echelon in AEW to see whether or not it makes sense what you're about to post, because it seems like you're about to railroad your dumbass boy over here. Will Ospreay legitimately just said everything that you need to do in order to not work for WWE anymore and in order to work for AEW once you get released. And here we have Ricochet completely undermining that. I mean, as he said in his sarcastic tone, he is the prize, right? He makes the most money. He gets the most views. What is there that needs to be proven? Ricochet said it, not me, Willie. Ricochet said it. Once you leave WWE, you're automatically a commodity. What house should he be going to prove his worth? And again, that's not you. That's what Ricochet is saying. Ricochet, the guy who can't keep his fucking mouth shut, the guy who can legitimately go after people and not even be held. Oh, by the way, guys, the people who were out there saying Javon Evans, oh god, Javon Evans, you're gonna get released now. You're gonna be on the bench. Oh, just debuted on SmackDown last night. Shut the fuck up. Back to what I was saying though. All those remarks that Ricochet was saying, does that have any merit? Huh, Willie boy? See, the inconsistencies that I see from AEW when it comes to WWE, it's obvious. It's obvious. Pretty evident that what Will Ospreay is pretty much hanging his coat on right now at the moment is that he himself wants to be this locker room leader. And hey, more power to you. I hope you get that position, okay? Like I said, these past couple of weeks, I feel like Will Ospreay's been killing it. But killing it in today's era is a lot different to Willie boy than killing it about 10 years ago, about 20 years ago, about 30 years ago, about 40 years ago, where those guys would probably take you, press slam you out of the fucking arena and tell you to take your ass back to the Japan and prove your worth coming back to WWE. How would you feel about that? Huh, Will Ospreay? How would you feel about getting released yourself, having to go work your ass off and prove that you're a commodity by working some house shows to prove that you have to step foot into a second-rate fucking company? What does that do to one's ego, like yours, Will Ospreay? Mr. Triple H is talking shit about me without referencing my name because he said I can't take the grind. My first-class plane ticket back and forth coming weekly from the UK. I can't take the grind. But I expect everybody else to take the grind, and you better do the grind in order to feel like you fit in AEW, because we're the best wrestling company in the world currently right now at the moment. And all my objectives and all my narratives that I want you to abide by, I need to see whether or not you can actually, stay relevant at the same time. Keep up with me, bruv, in regards to the metrics that I paint out that I want you to follow. The sad part is people look at this and they say to themselves, Devontae, this is not really an issue. Of course you don't think it's an issue, buddy pal, Jimmy buddy pal. It's not an issue to anybody. It doesn't affect anybody. It will never affect anybody. It does not affect me. It does not affect you. It does not affect none of the boys. These are just words spoken by a wrestler. a wrestler who made remarks. And by making remarks, we get to analyze those remarks. And we get to, draw conclusions from those remarks. And then there's this little thing called freedom of speech where we get to actually, say those findings and remarks that we actually came to conclusion after watching what this person who used this free speech to spout off bullshit happened to say. So much inconsistency when it comes to professional wrestling nowadays, am I right? It feels like you have to be an absolute dirtbag, a complete fucking degenerate outside of just your rhetoric in order to be held accountable for the things you said. But if someone says something completely and utterly fucking stupid, well, why does it hurt you for? Huh? Shouldn't bother you. Why does it bother you so much? He just said something stupid. Now, if it was stupid and at the same time opposed what they were thinking, oh, then we have to get the pitchforks, right? Words matter. Oh man, the inconsistencies in professional wrestling nowadays, it just gets gayer and gayer, boys. It gets gayer and gayer. But let me hear some of your thoughts in regards to what Ricochet said. I mean, want me to read it again for some of the people in the back? According to Will Ospreay, you need to prove yourself and you need to grind in order to work for AEW, right? You need to prove yourself. You can't just leave WWE thinking you can just step foot into AEW like I did. You need to grind. You need to not be afraid of the grind. You need to be like me, okay? You need to be just like me, even though we most likely, the people who got released from WWE, worked the same amount of time on the indies before joining our respective companies. You need to be like me. You need to make a name for yourself. And then when you come to join AEW, then is it fine, and then is it respectful for you to actually be where the big boys play. But according to Ricochet, you can just leave WWE and be handed everything, because I mean, honestly, you work for the biggest company in the world. You have the name, you have the money, you have the views. So, I mean, he just kind of described Will Ospreay there without even recognizing it. But according to Will Ospreay, you can't do any of that. You have to actually get on your ball and actually grind. See all these conflicting things? But of course, never notice, folks. It's always bad when you notice. I'm telling you, if you notice, that makes you a bad person. As always, my name is Devontae. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Catching you fine folks later. A deuces and a P. Eyes. Stop noticing. I see you noticing. Your eyes, they're darting right and left. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.